Hi everyone, I'm Jeff Teague with Fred Anderson Toyota, and this is Ali, our resident Toyota Master Diagnostic Technician. What does that mean? He's really smart, has a lifetime of experience, and probably knows what's wrong with your truck, your car, or your SUV. So Ali, how's your day going so far?
So far, so good. This was my day off.
Oh, excellent. And you're here.
Yes.
You're here trying to help the world. So we've got a series of 6 questions here. They're all varied. And let's jump right in. This one has come up a lot in the past year or two. We've all heard the news headlines about RAV4 gas tank issues. What does that mean? What does it affect? Here's the question. Is the RAV4 hybrid gas tank issue resolved? And did it affect any other Toyota vehicles?
First of all, no. Second of all, it didn't affect even all the RAV4s. The issue was gas tank inaccuracy.
And it was with the shape of the tank itself?
Yes, they also changed the unit that figures out how much gas is inside the tank.
Mm-hmm.
So we replaced the tank, we replaced that unit, and everything goes back together. And the way you do this, first of all, if you had to do it, Toyota will first of all send you a letter. We'll tell you that your vehicle is one of them. Second of all, when you bring it in, we check your vehicle for that. And if it's due, we automatically go ahead and take care of it. And yes, it has absolutely been resolved. Like you already said, we replaced the gas tank. We replaced what is called the sending unit in there, and the problem is gone.
Cool. And really, I guess what people were encountering is at the gas pump, they think they have 14.5 gallons, but maybe they could only fill 8, 9, 10 gallons, yes. And it would automatically shut off and it wouldn't let you fill any more, right?
Yes.
I guess that would make people confused. Like, I thought I had to fill up. I was on empty. Why am I only putting in 9 gallons?
Yes, that's one of the processes on trying to work on this specific issue. Toyota recommends for us first to go to a gas station, try to put gas in it, see how much is in it. We first of all check to make sure it's one of the RAV4s that's affected. You can check that by the VIN number, I assume? Yes. Okay. It automatically says if it's involved or not. And if it's involved, then replace the gas tank. We make a repair, and we go and fill your vehicle up with gas. I don't know, it's not 100% filled because with the price of gas having changed and what Toyota put out, it may be like 3/4 of a tank with the price of gas today. Right. Okay. That makes total sense. And from what you understand, it doesn't affect things like other models of Toyotas, like Venza, RAV4 Prime, or anything Not at all. We've had issues with gas tank inaccuracies with other vehicles. We used to have it with the Prius at one time. We had it with the 4Runner at one time. However, there were different issues with the 4Runner. It was only in the instrument cluster that we did something. With the Prius, it was one part of instrument cluster. On some of those, we replaced the whole gas tank. Okay, so if a customer doesn't have a problem, you would know if you had a problem because you're only filling up 8, 9 gallons. You don't have to do anything. If it does affect you, you may have gotten a letter, but if you don't remember getting a letter, could you contact your Toyota service department? Absolutely. If your car does anything that you don't like. The VIN number? Yes. Okay. I don't know that you can do that at home. Sometimes on some of the stuff you can. So they would go to the service department with their VIN number or the car. Does this one just apply? Bring the car in and tell a technician to look at it. And if it's involved, service advisor will tell you immediately because they check it before even a technician get a hand on it. Okay, because I remember when it first came out, there were some technicians that would write me and say, I don't think there is a problem. So I think as information flowed out to the technicians, everybody became aware of it. But there were some technicians that said, I don't think there is a problem. I'm like, well, there is. so I guess by now, that's information should flow to every Toyota department. When a problem is brand new and we haven't seen it, it's really easy to deny that the problem exists. Yeah, I don't see it. Nope. Okay. Usually if I see a customer that makes a issue, that has an issue with their car that I cannot confirm, I'll make something called a dealer product report that I'll let the factory know. All master diagnostic technician and all master technicians have the ability to do this. Toyota collects all this information and they can see patterns, and those those patterns is what starts these recalls and technical service bulletins. Okay, so if across the nation they see all of a sudden in the first week we see 7 instances where this has happened, and the
The next week we see 13. Now they've compiled some statistical data.
Yes,
and
they see it all over
start
the nation.
to draw conclusions, not conflusions.
Yes.
Maybe conflusions. All right, next one here. This is about servicing, and a lot of people who are new car owners, when do you bring your vehicle in for service? 5,000, 10,000? Do you do it at 3,000? Here's the question. If I only have to change my oil every 10,000 miles, why do I have to get it serviced at 5,000 miles? And I know a lot of manuals, they say bring it in at 5, 10, 15, 20. What's up with that, Ali?
That's absolutely understandable. Somebody of my age is we used to change oil every 3,000 miles.
That happened when I was a teenager. It was every 3.
And then they changed it because they tried it with some taxis in New York, that they let them go every 5,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And they noticed that there was no issues with the vehicle. The oil still stayed in good condition.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I don't know how much it was, maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago. They changed it to every 5,000 miles. Nowadays, we use something called synthetic oils. These are oils that are not petroleum driven. They're done in a chemistry lab somewhere. And they have a lot longer life. They don't wear as fast. They don't burn as fast. And they are changed to 10,000 miles. Almost everything we have today runs on synthetic oil every 10,000 miles. Oil is not the only thing in your vehicle that needs looked at. The type of driving you do can cause shocks and struts to leak. Your batteries can die. There's things that we can do. I have cheated, and I know we have one coming on multi-point inspections.
Right.
And, we do a multi-point inspection that covers a large amount of stuff with your car.
Yeah, that's
Also
actually
your tires.
that's actually a question, and we can lead into that. They want to know, why do I have to do a multi-point inspection? What does that entail? So
Yes.
back to you.
One thing on the last one, we still have to rotate the tires because tires wear differently in the rear than they do in the front. And if that wear is too crazy, we have to recommend alignment because something is not right. Now we'll go to the multi-point inspection. What's all involved in it? The first thing we do, let's do only in North Carolina.
Because a multi-point is well over 100 different
It is
things that are
a
checked
large
for.
amount of stuff
Like
to
maybe
check.
160 or something like that. It's a gigantic amount.
I think you're also thinking of what we do for used cars.
Probably so.
That's a different for program cars.
See, that's why you're here.
But the multi-point inspection does cover a large amount of stuff. First of all, we put your car up in the air. We look at the tag, see if you need the registration renewed. A lot of people will forget. If your registration needs to be renewed, the first thing you need to do is inspection before you can go re-register your car and get your license tag renewed.
Yeah, they won't let you renew your registration if you don't have the inspection.
When we see that and we know you're close to it, we warn you, by the way, in the next 2-3 months, you need to bring your car back. If it's within the period that we can inspect it, we recommend we inspect it right then. That way, when you go home, you don't have to worry about bringing it back to us. As we put your car up in the air, we walk underneath. We look for rust. We look for broken exhaust. We look for bloody deer heads. You know, what if you ran over something? We let you know.
What is
We
that?
also look for if there's rodent issues underneath the vehicles. And as we walk all the way underneath the vehicle. We also look for oil leaks. If something has caused an oil leak somewhere, let's say your car is still within the warranty period, we go ahead, we tell you that. As a general rule, if your car needs it that day, we put you in a rental, fix your car for free. You come back, pick it up, no pain. If it is not under warranty, we let you know how bad it is. Do you need to fix it today? Do you need to fix it in the next year? Or let it go till it gets worse? We check your shocks and struts. The shocks, I'm sure most of the folks in here know what shocks will do. We'll look, see if they're leaking oil. We'll see if they're working properly. We check the vehicle for warranty issues. We check the vehicle for recall issues. All your recalls are done. There is something called special service campaigns. Those are things that can wear out. There are campaigns that Toyota does, but they have an expiration date.
Yeah, it's different from a recall.
Yes,
but
it is
along
different.
the same lines.
We make sure that you do those before they get expired. A lot of folks in here like most of them are expired, but now we had an issue with some rust for trucks. Would bring their trucks in and say, hey, I have a rust issue. It would say, yes, you do, and your special service campaign is expired. If you normally bring your vehicle in, we catch it and we fix it. We check your brake pads. Brake pads can wear, and as they wear and you let it go, you also have to replace the rotors. The rotors are $100 a piece. About $200, extra $100 to replace them, plus a brake pad. We try to catch everything that we can to get your car straight. We can look under the engine. We look for air filters. We look inside of the car for air conditioner filter. We see how good your wiper blades are working. Not wait till it rains, you turn them on, and you find out there's a piece of plastic hanging from it. One of the most important things, we check your radiators for leak. We see if the battery is about to die. And by the time you leave here, you're leaving here with a safe vehicle, not in an issue that you're going to be left on the side of the road, because we have checked everything to make sure your vehicle is safe to drive and your vehicle is reliable to drive.
That's true, and something you said earlier is interesting to me, because you had said if you fix it now, not only will there might be the cost of having to replace it or fix it there, but you're saving yourself future costs down the road, because if something breaks and it could affect something else, and that could cost more money, plus you have to bring it in again, so it's your time, your convenience, and more money potentially.
Yes.
By catching it early, you're saving time, convenience, and money.
There is also
potentially
some parts that we know as Toyota that the exact right part has to go in. We've had some issue with some aftermarket shops putting the wrong batteries in the RAV4s, and the battery sits loose where it is. As we discovered a couple of shows ago about the stop-start, that it takes a special battery. You can spend $150 in another shop, bring it over here, and we'll tell you the way to fix it is to put the right battery in it at $200-300. It helps a lot for us to look in a multi-point inspection. If you brought a stop-start vehicle, I see, hey, by the way, this is the wrong battery for this vehicle. It's not going to last as long as it should.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to learn a little bit after this one, because this deals with fuel stabilizers, and I don't know much. So tell the world, and definitely tell me. I have a 2021 RAV4 Prime, and I mainly drive around town on electric. Would it be a good idea to put fuel stabilizer in the gas tank? And I guess if I can put my question above the viewer, what is fuel stabilizer first, and how would that benefit somebody and their vehicle? And then we'll get to the RAV4 Prime driving around town in electric, and would that work?
Some things can happen to a fuel if it's not used for a long time. If you just leave it in the tank and let it sit. Sometimes the fuel itself would deteriorate. Sometimes that fuel may have some alcohol in it. Alcohol likes water, and the water will mix with the alcohol in the fuel. And this happens mostly with stuff like lawnmower, little ATVs.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't use them for a year. You don't use them for a whole season. You go after the season, you try to start it up. You have bad gas, you have water in the gas, all that sort of stuff. On a RAV4, it doesn't matter. On any hybrid vehicle that has gasoline, every time you start the vehicle starts up. It runs long enough to charge the battery, to warm the engine. It always runs. If you go at highway speed, the chances are the engine is running. And I don't recommend it for a normal vehicle to use fuel stabilizer. It's an absolute great idea for lawnmowers. It's absolutely great idea for ATVs, for something that's lived for the longest time. But I'm sure you realize that you fill up your tank once every other month. If you do that, you're doing a great job.
What about somebody who, let's say they have dual residencies in New York and Florida, and they leave their car for 6 months? Would that qualify for that, or still no recommend?
No. That is absolutely different animal.
Okay.
First of all, there are things you need to do if you're going to leave your car for 5 or 6 months and not drive it. Most important of those is disconnecting the battery. If your car is going to be left in an area where it's not heated or cooled, it's also a good idea to take that battery and store it inside where it's not exposed to sub-freezing temperature and things like that. If you leave your car for 5 or 6 months, you need to overpressure your tires. Your tires, as a normal use, if you see them in a parking lot, it's a little flat spot on the bottom where the tire is against the road. If you leave that for 5 or 6 months, you're going to have memory in the tire. So that tire is no longer perfectly round, and you're going to have a vibration.
Okay.
So when you overpressure your tires, you make a point that you have less of that flat area on the bottom of the tire.
Yeah, I totally get that. That makes sense. I get
so
the logic.
The most important things, if you're going to leave your car for 5 or 6 months at a time, is the battery, so your car doesn't die, and when you need it, put the brand new battery in it, or the battery that's been stored in a proper place. And then you can let a little bit of air out. Let's say you run, your normal tire pressure around here is 32, 35 psi. I would recommend maybe 40 psi.
Okay.
It's not by much, it's just a little bit.
No, but
and it
it's
just
enough.
causes less of an issue with the deformation of the tire.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. The next one deals with transmission fluid, and they deal with, this question has 2 different vehicles, a Tundra and a Tacoma. How often should the transmission fluid be changed in my 2019 4x2 Tundra? No dirt roads, no towing, and no extensive idling. I don't think he does anything in his truck. But and then how about that for a 2015 4x4 V6 Tacoma with the same type use? Again, he's doing nothing in this thing. So is there a general rule that you could say for those? Or I guess he has specific, I don't ride it too hard. How often should you change transmission?
World standard fluid, which is both in the 2015 and 2019 Tacomas. We use in world standard in almost everything we have now.
Okay.
Is considered to be a lifetime fluid. Most mechanics disagree with it. We normally recommend it 100K. Unfortunately, there is no longer a dipstick. If you have a dipstick, which you don't in a 2019, and you have WS fluid, you can put the dipstick out, get a white rag, and see the condition. It should be cherry red, and it should be pretty translucent. If it looks black, dark brown, then you can change it. It doesn't hurt it. Also, don't attempt to change WS yourself. If you do not have a dipstick, it's fairly complicated of an oil change. Bring it to a mechanic. We hook up a computer to the car, bring it up to a certain temperature, and check out the plug underneath to make sure it has just the right amount in it, because you don't have a dipstick.
Right.
If you're over 100K, it definitely wouldn't hurt, and I recommend it. Toyota says WS is for lifetime.
When they say lifetime, could that mean for 15 or 20 years, or are they talking more about mileage? Like it can go for 500,000 miles or 1,000,000 miles, or just as long as you own it?
If you treat a Toyota right, it does last. It doesn't die.
Toyotas do.
So if you service your Toyotas properly, they can run a 500,000 mile perfectly fine.
Okay, great. All right, used car tips. Everybody's looking for reliable transportation, right? It doesn't always have to be new. When looking for a reliable used cars, what things mechanically should I look for at the dealership before buying? Got any tips for the people out there?
First of all, go to a reliable dealership.
So not like a junk rock lot?
Some folks buy auction cars, wash the heck out of them, wax the heck out of them. The car is in horrible mechanical condition, and they still charge hefty for it. What do you need to do? You test drive the car. Does it feel funny? I don't know if this gentleman or lady, knows much about mechanical stuff, but you drive the car, see if it feels funny. Is there a vibration? Is there a noise? Does the air conditioner cool? Sometimes if you buy a car right before summer with a blown up air conditioner, costs you $2-3 grand to fix the AC. most of all, if you don't know much about the car, and you're buying it from an unreliable person, you're buying it from two people with each other without any dealership involved, you should have a real mechanic look at the car. They do everything I just said. They hook up a computer to it. They make sure you don't have no pending codes. They make sure the car is driving properly. They check the fluid conditions. If you don't know much about a car, have somebody else check it. Also helps to check Carfax. See if this car was totaled. Was this car flooded? Was this car put on an auction because somebody destroyed it?
And a lot of times Carfax can just tell you how somebody took care of their car, because it can generally show like the service intervals.
Actually, yes, I wish I had thought of that. The service maintenance record of the car is super important. If this person has if a person has taken care of their car and the maintenance record shows it, that's like gold.
Okay, cool. What about, should somebody look for alignment issues, or I know you talked about test driving it, but what about like brake life, any brake pads, anything like that?
Yes, that absolutely needs to be checked. By the way, we do that with the cars that we have here as used cars. That's why I was saying reliable dealerships. You usually notice when they sell it to you with some sort of a good warranty, say, hey, next 30 days, 90 days, 100,000 miles, whatever. You should know the reputation of the folks you buy from.
I know it's a pretty extensive inspection and just overall looking into, and before they put it out for sale here, they make sure that it's a reliable one that they can stand behind. And I think that's what you want to find in a dealer. We'd love it for you to choose us here in Raleigh at Fred Anderson. But yeah, make sure that somebody has a great reputation, and you can see that from Google reviews, so many different places, Dealer Rater, maybe word of mouth and things like that. But generally, a larger dealer might take a little bit more care.
Yeah, by all means, don't take our words for it. If you want to know our reputation or anybody else's reputation, go check them out through a third party.
Yeah, excellent advice. Well, that wraps up this episode here of Toyota Car Care Talk. Hope you learned a little. We would love to hear your questions about your cars and trucks and SUVs. Maybe it's a vehicle you're researching to buy. Maybe it's a vehicle you just bought. Want to know what that button dial switch does? Maybe we can help. So, Ali, thanks again for your insight and your expertise. Really appreciate it, man.
You're welcome, Jeff.
All right, great. See everybody next time.
Bye everybody.